Let's continue. Now we have a session, EID and Trusted Services, Ukraine's success story. We invite to participate in this session moderator Mark Erlich, Senior Infrastructure and Solutions Expert, EGA. Also, we have an online participants. This is Mr. Apostolas, Apladas, Program Manager, EID and eSigning Services, European Commission. He will be online here. And now we invite Yurii Kozlov, Deputy Director General, State Enterprise, Diia. It's a pleasure when Yurii returns to us to the next panel. And I invite Illia, Rodin, Chief Solutions Architect, State Enterprise, Diia. And I'm inviting Oleg Burba, EU for Digital UA Component Leader, Interoperability and Digital Government Infrastructure, EGA. And I would like to remind you of an opportunity to ask your questions through your QR codes on the backside of your badges. Let's begin this session.
I'm really happy to be here in Kiev. It's not so often we got this opportunity to come due to the crisis. And the topic we will cover, as you already know, is electronic identification and the trust services. And this is especially connected to the European project conducting Ukrainian solution to European common standards and principles. So without any short introduction, I will just jump over to some presentations, and after that we will have a small discussion and questions here with the panelists. Just to get a simple overview here, I hope, okay, it's on this side. The first thing that is noticeable is that Ukraine became actually the first third country that is basically non-European country that is recognized in the European Union. It means that technically the Ukrainian electronic signatures can be validated and accepted in the European Union. So all needed technical presumptions are made and everything is already working. But the most remarkable thing here is actually that during the war crisis, which is usually consuming all the focus and resources in countries involved in the war crisis, Ukraine still could keep the focus on assimilation with the European Union and put a lot of work, power and effort to achieve interoperability with the European Union. So we know that one thing is to do something technical, but it's always behind any success story, there's always some kind of force, something that pushes any activity towards success. And here is most important thing is usually the cooperation and willingness and passion. And it's important that this is not only some kind of economical wish or will, it has to be something more natural, something that comes from the heart. And this is also being a big foundation to this success story that European Commission, European Union and also Estonian partners could cooperate without any setting any obstacles or any demands, and was more or less interested in this project to be a successful result. So shortly to have an overview of what has happened, so we need to understand that this is not something that we achieved in 1 or 2 years. The work has been going on many years. It started before the full war. In 2017 already Ukrainian law was prepared or created to incorporate European regulation for the trust services. Just to understand for those who are not in the theme, what is trust services? So it's like a third-party service that everybody can trust on. Like you have a bank, but bank is per se not a trust service, it's a financial institution. But trust services is considered things like timestamps, digital or electronic signatures, and these kind of things that we rely on and we trust on, and we can make legal decisions based on this information. In 2019, we had also bilateral pilot with Estonia and Lithuania for cross-border signature validation. So it was a small event that we tested that our systems understand and can read each other's signatures. So also in 2020 we had a joint work plan with the European Union for e-signature validation for cross-border in covering the whole EU market. Also started the process for mutual recognition agreement, which is a legal agreement to accept Ukrainian signatures. This kind of assessment started in 2021. And in 2022, some law amendments for signature portal was also updated. So the new trust list created for the international use of cross-border use for the third countries was also set. And in the last year, we had also e-signature pilot with European Union completed. This result, Ukrainian trust services was also published in European list of the trusted country lists, so-called LOTL. So this means that this last step, last mile, was really important, especially from technical perspective, but also from the legal perspective, because this list is indicating that the services that are published through this list are trusted and also, let's say, supervised. So this is not the end. It's actually beginning to a long road. And we have still a lot of work to continue on this topic. One thing is, of course, to have a sustainability for this kind of third country trust list. Even though if Ukraine becomes in near future to be a full member of European Union, which we hope, still we have a lot of third countries who are interested to cooperate and incorporate their solutions with the European Union market. So it's important to go fully to the end with this, this task. Also, electronic identification is really, really important part, because to use services online, one thing is to fix it in one country, but another thing, if one country's citizens are living abroad or need to use services from other countries, it's important to have this kind of trust for identification systems as well. So one ongoing thing that we already is doing is assessment of so-called assurance level of electronic identification solution. And last but not least, which has been recently announced out a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, is a new European regulation for electronic identification and trust services, so-called eIDAS regulation. And this new version is focusing on something called digital identity wallet, So defining a technology and also legal aspects to be using a mobile solutions for identifications of individuals. So this is a new thing that is actually affecting the whole European Union, but also countries like Ukraine, who are really close to Europe and who have deep interest for incorporation with the European Union. So this was a short introduction to the theme or topic we are going to talk now about. So I will have now some questions to our panelists to discuss the things we had on the screen recently. So first question would be to Apostolas. I'm really happy to see you. Sadly not in person, but through the screen mirror. But my question would be simple. This cooperation between European Commission and Ukraine for getting these electronic identity and trust services adopted here, can you share, please, your experience, how you felt and see that, how it went and what's going on, basically? What did you do to came to the goal?
Good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here, invited to your forum. I have to say that, as we saw in your slide, in 2021, we had in European Commission created the International Compatibility Pilot based on the Article 14 of the eIDAS regulation. And part of this pilot was the Article 14 MRA Mutual Recognition Agreement checklist. In spring 2022, we received an official request by the Ukrainian government in order to try to seek an alignment on the mutual recognition of the trust services offered in Ukraine in conjunction with the trust services that are offered in the European Union territory. And this was actually the genesis of the third countries trust list program. Together with my teams, we elevated the International Compatibility Pilot. And in summer 2022, we collaborated closely with the experts of the Ukrainian Ministry of Digital Transformation in order to perform the technical developments on the field of the trust service, but also of the digital identity on deploying an eIDAS CID node at the Ukrainian territory. This was, in my humble opinion, a tremendous success because we were fascinated by the amount and level of expertise that you have over there in Ukraine in digital identity and the trust services domain. You have advanced heavily, even more than some of our member states, let's say, in this domain. And in only 3 months, the 3 summer months, by the way, where Commission, as you may know, malfunctions a bit due to the summer holidays, we were able to conclude in just 3 months these 2 very important files. And the third countries trust list program was a groundbreaking program because it introduced the third country status slot rule. And this third country status slot, following a technical assessment that I conducted with my teams, we managed to put the Ukrainian trust service providers and their trust services that they offer in this third country status slot rule, which is sealed by the European Commission sealing certificate. And this is a very important element because this means towards the member states that European Commission collaborated closely with the Ukrainian authorities, has concluded that technically speaking, you are doing a very good job over there, and we have a very high reassurance about the level of the trust that you are providing, and this is why we recommend to the member states to use these trust services that you offer in your territory in Ukraine as advanced, very credible advanced trust services.
Okay, thank you for this overview. Illia, we have one of the key challenges. What was those most important key challenges you found out in the previous Ukrainian EID system? And what do you think, what are those most biggest impacts that happened to the citizens accessing those digital services? That what was those let's say key challenges you had for this transformation?
It's very important to notice that the current EID system is based on data received through banks, and they can be not up to date enough, or these can be those data that can be received through systems such as Diia. But to use Diia, you have to have RKPP, an individual tax number. That means that so about 3% of Ukrainian citizens are not capable of using this EID identification system. Not having this tax number, you have no ID documents to use these systems. So these users are somehow restricted to have access to electronic services. The most important problem is that our solutions are not interoperable enough, I mean, with the European Union and other systems. So that's a solution that can operate with our data, but it cannot be used in other countries outside Ukraine. Yes, we can have AFIA to get opportunities for integration for our international partner to share their documents through Diia, but this needs additional resources from our partners. But they don't want to do this in all cases, and this can restrict Ukrainian citizens to get access to these electronic services outside Ukraine.
Okay, thank you. Yurii, since you're sitting next there, I was thinking to continue this topic from the Diia's perspective. What do you see? What kind of strategies has been used to promote awareness and adoption of this Diia signature among the citizens, and particularly in underserved and marginalized communities in Ukraine?
Thank you for your question. Indeed, if looking at trusted services statistics in Ukraine in the last year, so the qualified electronic signature for individuals in Ukraine took the second place when I mean how often the Ukrainian citizens have used it. But in the leadership position, so we haven't implemented the e-signature opportunity for. So there are many opportunities to receive identification for electronic services. We've heard Mr. Fedorov, the Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine, and I can support him. So we are developing the Diia application to start the mobile app, Diia app for business entities, and this will allow us to make the Diia services more popular, and we can raise them at on a new level among businesses and citizens in Ukraine. Speaking about tasks for international recognition and application. So we need to adjust the Diia app to those requirements which are developing right now among the EU countries. I'm speaking about requirements to e-wallet and e-ID. In the EU, a concept is being implemented. So each EU member should develop a mobile app which will contain personal data of EU citizens, their qualifications, their educational levels, businesses, state servant status, and so on.
So now it has become clear that actually Diia app can be seen as sort of digital wallet, but yet there are some obstacles to overcome, and they're primarily related to the international nature of this project, and it's very complicated. There are lots of discussions around it, and we take part in these discussions as well as other stakeholders from EU. And we normally decide what type of solution it should be in its final outcome, and whether this data should be stored on a mobile app of the digital wallet, or there is a necessity to store them elsewhere on some capacities of a provider. So we took up this course and will move forward with an aim to make Diia app a digital wallet for the Ukrainian. And the Ministry of Digital Transformations today foresees availability of such a tool that will allow this. And the state enterprise Diia will make it all to make it available. These are the plans.
Thank you. Thank you. Very great to have this kind of insight also to what's going to happen in the future here. Oleg, EGA, or E-Governance Academy, has been involved many years in these assimilation projects to incorporate in Ukraine European solutions and to be compatible with European standards. So from the regulations perspective, and what are for Ukraine, still you are considered as a third country or non-European country, what has been biggest challenge to solve during those projects here?
Mark, thank you for your question. To be true, Mark highlighted the historical background of Ukraine and its pathway when it can find itself for the moment. And taking into consideration the movement of Ukraine towards joint recognition involved our project, and we had separate objectives on our pathway, and one of the tasks was to develop joint action plan between the European Commission and Ukraine, and we envisaged potential signing of EU-Ukrainian agreement that set forth gradual implementation of commitments that were written into this agreement. And it was clear that the aggression of the Russian Federation caused the delay in implementation of this plan, and we lost some time in implementing this plan. And within the framework of our project, primarily, we supported the Ministry of Digital Transformations and other authorities in Ukraine that were involved into the development and modernization of the current Ukrainian legislation. And among the first achievements was implementation of changes to the law on electronic trust services and electronic identification. So, and alongside with that, we engaged our Estonian experts and other experts from EU that assisted to validate and assess the Ukrainian solutions technologically and legally. And today, we are proud to have the current legislation that allows us to implement all the solutions in Ukraine. Apart from that, the experts and the Estonian Academy of Electronic Governance supported the operations of Diia State Enterprise and the Ministry of Digital Transformations of Ukraine. In the majority of the EU initiatives helped to move forward in this direction altogether. These are general outcomes. But for the more concrete outcomes, I would like to say that technologically we achieved a lot. We supported Diia signature from the very beginning. From its outset, when we started our movement towards the European standards and we implemented and brought into life the digital algorithm of Diia signature, and we would like to thank million times everyone involved for such a brilliant result that we accomplished. And this has led us to a dialogue of Diia and our partners that made us draw up a list of trust services, and this also triggered involvement of a new authority that will be our key accomplishment, and I believe that our huge achievement was sort of harmonization of the current legislation in Ukraine. What is being implemented in Ukraine is the technical regulations, and here we found ourselves on the edge of jurisprudence and technologies, and it's clear that the bulk of burden was laid on the ministry jointly with our partners. Our partners from Diia State Enterprise were actively involved into this endeavor. So I do have hope that we will jointly be able to overcome all these hurdles.
So, getting this to the background, I'm still thinking about Ukraine not being a full member of EU yet. So it means that also it is the Ukrainian signature does not have the same legal power as other European member states' signatures between the European member states. So on the road to the full recognition of electronic signatures and trust services within the European Union, I mean the Ukrainian e-signatures. I have a question to you, Apostolas. What do you think? What needs to be done to motivate countries already in an early stage to implement this so-called third country list of trust list? What could motivate to be this driven engine to get more countries to accept this trust list internally within their country?
Mm-hmm. This is a very, very good question. First of all, I would like to say that here in European Commission, not only, because I'm also the product owner of the Commission's own electronic signing platform, we do already validate the electronic signatures that are originating by Ukraine. And because our platform is adopted by 80% of the other institutions, this means that other institutions do have this capability. The second point is that in Europe, not only the qualified electronic signatures do have a substantial value. Even the advanced electronic signatures can be utilized in many business workflows. And personally, and at the Commission level, we are launching communication campaigns towards the member states, in February 2023, a year ago, we had the first European Commission Third Countries Trust Service Forum in order to announce all of these deliverables and also elaborate on how the member states in the private market can take stock of what we have delivered. Next month, I'm going to be in the Forum of European Supervisory Authorities in Tallinn, Estonia, in order to deliver an update of what we are doing under the digital partnership program that we have in the European Commission, but also to explain them that everything is there and they can take use, each of any member state take use of all of these technical elements that we have there. We also gave them the tools to validate these electronic signatures, the validation policy of these electronic signatures. So practically, and considering that most likely we will have a mutual recognition agreement at the qualified level, not in 5 or 10 years, but I mean in a shorter time frame. This is my presumption and my feeling. I think that we are doing a lot of work on this front, communication-wise, and we have very, very solid and robust arguments in order to convince them in quotes to start using them as well, as we use it in our institutions, by the way.
Okay, thank you. So we slightly touched actually European digital identity wallet here when Yurii talked about the forthcoming challenges. So to understand that these kind of projects that has been going on, and the current project that is in the final stage, we understand the importance of these European Union projects that are incorporated countries like Ukraine. And seeing to the future and understanding that there is also changes on the European market, which leads that this kind of need for these kind of projects is still pretty high. We talk about the new regulation that actually recently was released, and it includes still the same basic things like electronic identification and trust services. So Yurii, I have to you a question about that. Considering the Diia integration in the future with this new identity wallet ecosystem, what kind of strategical decisions must be done in Ukraine, and what kind of impact these challenges will make to the users? What are your opinion on that? And please, if you can make a little bit shorter, because we are running out of time soon.
Дякую за питання. Якщо говорити про законодавчу базу,
So if it goes about the legislative base, I would like to say that the basic law that determines the rules of receiving the trust services and electronic identification, this is the law on electronic trust services, holds in itself articles that are related to the digital wallet and electronic identification in its current version. So this is a declaration that proves availability of such a service, but since we are very cautious about the changes in the versions, and there is some information that some changes will be amended in the electronic wallet in parallel. Together with the Ministry of Digital Transformations, we will elaborate the changes to the basic law on trusted services, and these adaptive mechanisms that will be brought into life taking into consideration alignment with the EU rules, will make a leap step behind those barriers which we can single out at the moment. So speaking about the electronic identification, I would like to say that gradually we have initiated engagement of a team of developers, designers towards adaptation of practical Diia app in line with these requirements, which we gradually receive from the European colleagues. And we have hope that within the timeline that is set out within the potential project, that's 2025. That's the deadline when we expect the prototype of an electronic wallet in the European countries, and our app will be available to be able to pass this challenge and competition and recognized on the par with other EU solutions.
Coming to Illia, in the same question, in the same area, actually. What kind of challenges you see to implement? You can also think back to implementing even at the current stage the European signature standard. Based on that experience, what kind of challenges you see with this new eIDAS regulation and this wallet infrastructure are forthcoming in development of Diia infrastructure? So if you can just give a short overview.
Так, звичайно, дякую за запитання.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your question. In its majority, the bulk of work was completed by the Kharkiv Institute of Informational Services. They provided us the skeleton for working with European digital signature. Big problem was development, and we had to find more than 100 different standards and specifications for digital signatures and test them in respect of interoperability and compliance, consistency, but not all standards are related to upgrade of repositories. In some cases, data were outdated, and we had to take that into consideration. At times, we encountered some nuances, and there were cases where some specifications were missing, and these deficiencies were found right before the development. And much work was done within migration of the EU standards and international standards towards the Ukrainian. This work demands huge resource and much time.
Oleg, also keeping eye to the coming future, what measures has been taken to or planned to address the legislative and technological challenges to align with the European standards, and in particular in the case of forthcoming amendments of new European regulation, eIDAS? What kind of challenges are planned? What do you see? What kind of work you see must be done here now?
Так, звісно, з прийняття.
Yes, it's clear. With the implementation of the new ISIS version, some new challenges emerged. Speaking about the former version of ISIS, no, we're not very smart about it. In fact, we missed some understanding of key tenets which were envisaged in it. But speaking about KPR, and other indicators which signified development of the Ukrainian legislation and meant the level of compliance with the current rules. Ukraine, in that respect, had to choose the pathway to go ahead. And we needed to decide with the view to the resolution of the Commission number 150 that will spread all across the country, and the electronic identification and trust services. This is the most optimum and the clearest possible way out for us if to initiate assessment and move forward towards alignment. One of other internal challenges is that we will need to replenish and promote the use of electronic digital signatures which are implemented in line with the EU standards. The more popular they are, the more the market participants, the qualified service providers of electronic digital signatures will be able to develop this field, and we will be closer to integration with the EU technologically. Even though that today the impression is very good if to qualify Ukraine a third country, that is far not a EU state so far, but today technologically we stay a little bit ahead than some other organizations or countries in the EU.
Дякую. Я тут хочу.
Thank you. I would like to add something to what Oleg have told us about. This is about node matters. This is a technology. Not everybody knows what that is. Maybe you know that we have an ID.gov.ua, a system of electronic identification. It allows us to enter different electronic services in Ukraine, to go through electronic identification with a Diia signature, with other tools. You can use different means, file containers, tokens, cloud signatures. This system was elaborated in the beginning of 2018, and now this system went through several circles of its modernization. It changed its functional capacities. I think to the developing team here, we have Ms. Anastasia. She is a project leader, the project leader at our site. And what Oleg was talking about, in the EU, they have a concept, an ideology that allows within technological implementation for citizens from every EU country to enter the portal with the identification means of their countries to receive electronic services in other countries. So, for example, I'm an Estonian citizen, and I'm going to receive a tax service, a tax authorities service in Finland. So I'm asking the Finnish portal. So so we have a node system that allows to make a cross-border identification. It can refer me to the to Estonian providers for identification, and they can validate me, and so I can receive services in other countries. This service is functioning in Ukraine. It was tested with some providers from Estonia, in the Estonian Republic, and today I'm in Ukraine. We have e.gov.ua identification system, and we are ready to connect all providers from the European Union to this system so that they can use their common electronic identification means. So that they could receive services in the European Union without changing anything in their common doings.
End of our discussion. Sadly, we are running out of time, and I see a couple of questions we have here. online, but I have a first like a finalizing question to round it up. We're talking about incorporating in coming years as well the new system of the European Union and within Europe, but also considering the third countries or countries outside of the European Union. So here is a really short question to you, Apostolas. What do you see? How does this European digital identity wallet logic and the new eIDAS regulation will support third countries? Also taking into consideration that it is not only trust services that is today we have already mechanisms for trust services for cross-border recognition of third countries, but EU digital identity wallet will be also an electronic identification means. So if you can make it very shortly, please.
Very, very shortly. Now, perhaps you know, we are in the stage of the implementing acts for the eIDAS 2.0, and we are going to, with this implementing acts, to accelerate the mutual recognition processes in digital identity and trust services. For the wallet, there are very, very solid plans to launch a similar program to the third countries trust list program that we have for the trust services, and this program to be applicable for the alignment of the wallet implementations outside of EU. Because we have a very well-structured framework nowadays adopted in the Parliament, and it is a time, the proper timing, to create such a program for the alignment of the wallets that are going to be implemented in third countries. We have already received several requests by many countries. I encourage you to submit an official request to the Commission about your willingness to implement something ourselves for you, for all of these third countries, and I think this is the best way to go forward.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, dear panelists. Thank you, audience. Unfortunately, time has run out, and we have to round up here and give the space for next panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much.